Hi guys, and welcome back to another Metagame Magic by VVV Shaft. Today we've been talking about, today I'm going to be talking about Immortal timings, and we are actually on the second part, so we are about to be reviewing for just a second everything that has happened, the way it's supposed to happen, and, you know, look at exactly, well, okay, alright, let's approach this a little bit differently. Alright, this is what we're using to evaluate our games. This little GIF right here. 14 pool, 16 hatch, this is the build order here on the left, and on the right are little notes and comments about the build order that, you know, you should bear in mind. So, we're evaluating our play, or a Bad Man's play, based on this right here. So, last game, you know, he was late on the metabolic boost. He misengaged there at the middle spot that we discussed. He had his roaches separated. That wasn't good. And he lost his third. So, those three mistakes, he still won the game, but he didn't win the way he wanted to. So now, we're looking at the way he wants to win the game. Let me go ahead and get this up to a minute mark before I switch over. Back button is my friend. And there we go. Alright, so everything's up. Let's get her unpaused. Alright. So, again, we're just going to be looking at his build order and looking at how he deals with things. We're probably going to spend just a little bit less time on the nuts and bolts of his build order, but still do want to discuss some of the things about it. You know, we've got the early pull, and here is the probe showing up. And he's just scouting to see where, or, you know, when the pool was built. He now sees that. And everyone's scouting everything. Now, there was no drone blocking this Nexus, so this is a Nexus first build. This probe, however, is blocking. So, yeah. Just bear in mind little differences. Here is a pylon going down. So, again, Overlord was made immediately. Like, he didn't even waste a second there. He just did it. Which is kind of what you have to do. Waiting to 400 minerals like he did last time can definitely be a mistake. I mean, if you hit it at 300, well, you're getting it 100 minerals sooner. I mean, it's just that simple. So, now, you know, he's a little bit ahead of the curve. Going ahead, pumping this queen out, so he's gonna get, he got this queen like maybe a supply earlier, which translates into a pretty strong advantage. Here are the lings, knocking everything down like we promised. And the very next phase, because we're here, 4 lings, 2 eggs, keep lings active. Well, keeping lings active on the last map was kind of a hassle. I mean, I'm just calling it like it is. This map, not so much. You cover these two, and there's nowhere else a probe can go. So the best place to keep a ling, well, you're going to want to keep one here. But, yeah, the probe is already across the map. Let's bear that in mind. So he's going to have to go hunting for that, no matter what. The drone finally gets out of the base. Cool, cool. Here's 4 lings. It's going to go ahead and kill that drone, or that probe off, rather. Probe is going to successfully scout, gets on creep, dies, like it. And here we go. These two are looking for this probe. One's going to be especially looking for a pylon along that fringe. The most notorious area is this right here. This one's also pretty common, but the whole idea is a quick rally against that. Working a couple of zealots, game over. Or at least, I mean, it's going to take a lot of presence of mind to deal with that. So, he sent 2 up there, now he's sending 1 back. That Ling is just chilling there. He scouts it immediately. Like, he was just on top of that. And that probe is forced across the map. Third hatch goes down, and that probe is just wandering now. Going to be sent in for a scout, probably a suicide scout. Here we go. These are the 2 gases being dropped. This is around 6 minutes. 6 minutes or 40 supply. We get a third queen and a second and our 2 gas. So we've got the 2 gas. Well, we haven't begun the third queen. Third queen, third queen, third queen. I guess he's just not interested in that third queen. Oh well, not really too big a deal. But yeah, regardless of anything else, 7-minute mark, Roach Warren Evolution Chamber. When this Evolution Chamber finishes, well, the layer should start when the Evolution Chamber finishes, but because of the way things played out here originally, remember the way things got blocked and didn't get blocked, and the fact that he had to knock the pylon down, and every little step in that affects this right here. It affects how you produce, when you produce, and at how much you produce of it. So that is all factoring in as little decisions, but again, nothing too game breaking. If you're a fraction of a supply off or a couple of seconds off, it's not the end of the world. Layers up, +1's up, metabolic will be up shortly. There's the 100 gas, and shortly is remember last time when you didn't have that metabolic boost, those Lings were not very effective, and seeing as it was a Roach Immortal Sentry army, would have been a lot nicer to have that metabolic boost. So here's that Ling scouting for a Zealot being pushed out or a probe moving out. Gonna sacrifice that Ling to the Sentry gods. And here is the push. Now, this is where we're going to take it off ×2 because this is where things get interesting. Now, this is 9 minutes into the game, so we're halfway through our layer. The layer is actually finished. We've got all 4 gas mining, and you know, we've got these drones right here. So we said before this that when your opponent forge fast expands, you want to stop between 45 and 60 drones. 50 usually being around the mean. So let's see how many drones he's got. 57 compared to his opponent's 47. Alright, so he's definitely within that range. And he's just stopped. I mean, that's completely cool. Just stop making drones. Go ahead, defend yourself, and this is the 9-minute push out, which we've again discussed. This is a little bit earlier. He's got 6 sentries, so that's a sentry more, but there's no stalkers. There's 2 zealots, so, and then there's this 1 immortal. How long until he gets, there's a more stalker or sentry. Another immortal is going to be on the way. So yeah, he's moving out a little bit sooner, but check this out. These, I mean, this army can't deal with this army. Like, just not going to happen. That's 9 roaches. That's 6 sentries. Sentries don't do any damage. They're great, but they're a support unit. And unfortunately, the immortal timing almost always looks like this when it moves out. So by having some roaches on the field, by cutting those drones, going ahead and getting those roaches on the field, you don't have to defend here. We're just a couple of well-placed force fields make your entire army useless. No, by making these 9 roaches and continuing to make them, getting the right upgrades, getting all your timings right, you get to do something like this. Boom, boom, boom. That is a lot of dead sentries. Not the best force fields in the world either, but it doesn't matter. Like, I mean, just 2 sentries are left on the field. They've wasted all their force fields. We've got 3 stalkers. Wow, I will get it right eventually. 3 zealots, a stalker, a sentry, and a mortal. That is not a death push, even with this proxy pylon down. Here's another immortal. Here's 4 more stalkers. But the scary part of that army, the sentries, are dead. So this is going to play out very, very, very well for our Zerg player. Again, he's got a huge roach army against basically nothing, which is pretty typical for Zerg versus Protoss. But the difference is, the basically nothing of Strudel does not include sentries. So therefore, it's a little bit different. And here's just more and more roaches being produced by Bad Man. Now, I'm going to go ahead and pause this for a second, because there's one thing I want to talk about. Yes, he's doing really well in this situation. Yes, he won the last game on Pure Roach. But, is Pure Roach Ling really all a Zerg has to do? The answer is no. If you do this, and he goes Colossi, and sets up a third base, you're fucked. No. You do this to stay alive. You can also take a fourth base off this, but essentially you're waiting. You are waiting for his timing attack to fail. You will then attack him, because once his timing attack fails, he's not going to have any army at home. You go attack him. You don't really throw too much away. You might kill him, but you're not really trying to. You just want to put some pressure on, get yourself another base up, and then you get your Spire. Now, there's two situations that will make you get a Spire. Just two. He takes a third base, or he starts working towards Colossi. So your best friend in this situation is Overlord speed. You want to constantly be scouting for that really annoying tech structure that we all know and loathe. Pretty simple, right? In any case, we are going back to the Roach massive carnage, because Bad Man is not done with his opponent. He's going to start tearing these pylons up. He has got his fourth base up and running, well, not up and running, but at least began here before the 12-minute mark. And we are basically seeing nothing but Roach against everything the Protoss can throw. Bad Man choosing not to engage in positions that are unfavorable to him. I like that decision. Going ahead, getting back on some creep. I like that as well. And usually, you're just using this little vision inhibitor to his advantage. In fact, both players doing that quite a bit, which is awesome. And we are seeing some pretty good creep spread for this map. This is a map I do not really like. Generally, I'll push my creep up this way, but I like what he's doing a lot better. And that's that Overseer. Now, he has been scouting. He wants to know when that Robo Bay is begun. Now, I'm just curious when the last time he scouted with this guy was. Probably that changeling. Yeah, see, he's moving in from the scout there. Alright, that answers that. And here is Strudel's army in full retreat mode. Here is Bad Man's army in full attack mode. We've got nothing but Roachling coming at his opponent pretty hard. We even have Tunneling Claws or Roach Burrow movement being researched, yet no Burrow. So maybe a little bit of an oversight there by Bad Man, but again, forgivable with this much ownage there beforehand. And here is that Roach trick that we talked about in the first game. I'm backing it up just so you guys can see that. Look at this Roach micro. This is called hugging your roaches, or hugging the stalkers, or hugging, basically. You get as close to his army as possible. Look at this clicking right in here. I want you to see that one more time. Look at this clicking right in here behind this Immortal. You're going to see it. I'm actually just going to leave that green box there. This red clicking right in here. Alright, there's yellow coming up. We see that happening. Boom, boom, boom. Here we go. There's that clicking I'm talking about. He hugs this army, gets as much of a concave as possible by hugging, and again, he's just clicking behind his opponent's army, Moving in, hold position. Moving in, hold position. Moving in, hold position. GG. That's over. It was that easy. Kill the army when it's low. Now, Bad Man has a huge roach force. This third's going up. This would be the time here on this 4 base tech where he begins going Mutalisks if he did not just win the game, because his opponent has transitioned to 3 base. Twilight Council is being made. I mean, we definitely see a tech switch here for the Protoss, and that's all you're looking for. If he does go for this Twilight Council, you might want to favor something closer to Broodlords. Twilight Council, just by itself, almost always will counter a Spire. As far as Mutalisks just go, I mean, you've got Blinkstalkers, you've got Storm, you've got Archons, and I'm pretty sure that's it. But, yeah, I mean, all 3 of those are unlocked with that Twilight Council, or, you know, work towards with it, at least. So, yeah, just trying to remember if there's anything else dire that needs to be covered here. Guess not, as far as I know in my own recollection. But if you guys have any questions, thanks for tuning in. Throw them up in the chat. I've got my eyes on the chat right now. Cool, glad to know that things are working, folk. If there's any questions, just throw them up in the chat. I'm going to give it a couple of minutes just to run through. Make sure everyone is good with what we're teaching tonight. But guys, if you do like what you saw, please feel free to check out star2.org. I am an official commentator for them. They are a great site, great group of individuals, very dedicated to StarCraft 2. Actually, there's a new tournament coming up in Pittsburgh in 6 days. That's going to be April 20th. Pretty interesting, so if you're in the area or live there or will be visiting, please, you know, come check that out. I should be commentating. I am talking to the tournament organizer over the last couple of days, and should be working on that. If you haven't checked it out, I've thrown up a YouTube channel that features just a couple of episodes of this show, other shows, and a couple of promotional videos that I might only throw up on YouTube. I'm not sure about, but that YouTube channel is Misused Shaft. What else is going on right now? Zergling Roundup, doing great. Please go check those out. blip.tv/theonlyshaft. Other than that, guys, if there's no questions, we might as well wrap this up. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope I taught you something. And look forward to seeing you guys next time. So, I'll see you next time.